So now I'm happy with my needle felted ball. I think I've gone round enough to make it nice and smooth, and it's not coming apart, as you can see. So now we can shape it to make the segments of our pumpkin. Now for this, we're going to use a needle and thread. So I've got a kind of browny, orangey colour, which kind of matches my pumpkin. And I'm going to take off quite a long length. Now I've got quite a nice long needle because we're going to be sewing literally right through the middle of my pumpkin, and the long needle really does help because it makes it so easy to then pull out the other end. But you can kind of squish it down and get a smaller needle through if you don't have a longer one, but it really does kind of help you. So thread my needle. Right, then start us off. I'm literally going to pick up just a tiny bit on the base and pull the thread through until the end just vanishes. And I'm going to pick up another little bit, the needle through. Then just before I pull it tight, I'm going to put my needle through this loop so I can then tie. It just creates a nice kind of little knot at the bottom, and that secures it in place. Right, now I'm going to put the needle through all the way to the top. So you want to try and get it coming out kind of as close to the middle as you can. Pull it all the way through. And now we're going to go around the edge to make our segments. So you want to go around the edge and you're literally just go back through the bottom and up through the top again, trying to get close to the middle as you can. And then pull it kind of nice and tight, and there's your first segment. So you can continue to do that all the way around, as many kind of segments as you want really, but I generally do about either kind of 5 or 6. Also depends on how big your pumpkin is. If it's really little, then you're going to want kind of less segments really than the bigger one. Again, doesn't need to be precise because pumpkins are very organic things, so we don't want them necessarily kind of all exactly the same size. You can do some a little bit smaller, some a little bit bigger. We'll play around with it. And then you see a pumpkin really starting to take shape. And I think we'll just do, I might do 2 more, I think, in that bit. There we go. So it really is that simple. And then when you've finished all your segments, you're going to push it through the middle so the end is on the bottom. Put it nice and tight. And then we're just going to tie it off on the bottom. So I'm going to pick up just a little bit on the bottom there. And again, tie a knot. So through the loop, pull it tight, and then we can trim that end. Okay, and there you have it. There is your main pumpkin. So now we're ready to make the stem for it. Right, so the last step is to make our stem for our lovely pumpkin. So I have some brown felt, like a sheet of felt, and we're going to cut a nice kind of a rectangle out of this. So think kind of how tall you want your stem. And then we're going to cut a rough rectangle. So I'm not really measuring it, I'm just kind of guessing it's going to be the height of my stem, and then we're going to roll it up. And that is going to be our little stem, and we're going to stick it in the middle. So roll it up so you get the kind of idea of how big it's going to be. Place it in the middle to see if you are happy, and if you are, we can get gluing. So I've got my glue gun, and I'm going to put just a little bit of glue on the first edge to start me off, and then I'm going to start rolling it. So try and kind of roll it slightly tighter on one edge, so it's slightly looser around the top, and you get a slightly more kind of nicer shape. So then you want a nice line of glue along the second edge to secure it in place. Squish it down, and there we have a nice little stalk. Now, to make this kind of edge a little bit neater, you can get your scissors and trim the very, very edge off it, almost like at an angle, and then there you go. So you get a slightly smoother kind of effect there. Right, so now we can stick it into the middle of our pumpkin. So all we need is a nice blob of glue on the bottom, and stick it in the middle. And there we go, one lovely pumpkin. So I hope you really enjoyed that. If you hop into the Facebook group, I've been putting some little kind of tips and extra little bits that you can do to make them even better. So look out for the bonus video, which will be tomorrow, and I'll see you then.